What is a challenge for us is we don't have a house. We don't have a specific spot to build. Where do we build? Where do we get all our stuff shipped in? We don't necessarily want to go back to Washington. We definitely don't want to build in Wisconsin in March. How do we do that? How do we plan for building when we don't have the house, we don't have the tools? Where does stuff go? Happy holidays, happy new year, all of that. We've been kind of bored lately.
Yeah, a few days off.
The van builds are done. Everybody went their separate ways.
I wouldn't say done. They're stubbed in nicely, put it that way.
So we have a little bit too much time on our hands, and given that fact, Bob has been up to no good.
Yeah.
Ordering, planning, preparing for our next van that potentially is coming in January.
Well, it won't come in January. It's getting produced in South Carolina in January, hopefully. So, it'll be more toward March. But yeah, for one thing, I'm stuck in cold weather and for the holidays. So. And not
I'm enjoying it because I get to see friends and family, as does he, and I have a little bit of downtime. Cooking, baking, Christmas seeing.
Yeah. Lived in the city for 50 years. Don't want to be back. But anyway, so what I've been doing is planning out the next van, and like I said, it might come in March. So there's some things that we need to deal with that, as far as how do we build it out without a house.
And I'm thankful for that because I would not be preparing for any of that. I don't follow the process. I am a follower. I follow along, and I completely enjoy doing that. So you need to plan ahead to do a van build.
Yeah, and one nice thing is when we did our van build in 2020, right after COVID hit, we did it in 6 weeks, but on the fly. We designed on the fly. Every night I would design, and so we learned a lot as where this time we have that information to go on. The van actually turned out perfect, our 2019, but there's a few things that just make it a little better, or we want to try something a little different.
And what is a challenge for us is we don't have a house. We don't have a specific spot to build. Where do we build? Where do we get all our stuff shipped in? We don't necessarily want to go back to Washington. We definitely don't want to build in Wisconsin in March. How do we do that? How do we plan for building when we don't have the house, we don't have the tools? Where does stuff go?
Well, let me back up a little bit on that. So what I first started doing was taking our MakeCAD files that we had for Aaron's build, which is based off of our build, our initial build, and then modify those to what we want to do with this build. And we're going to do the electrical differently. We're going to use power stations instead of Battle-Born batteries and Victron components. We're going to do the water a little different. It's not going to be on the roof. 80/20 is going to be a little different, even though very similar. We're going to shorten a few things, whatever. So anyway, spent a lot of time on MakeCAD. The nice thing with MakeCAD, especially because we know it works as it is, I can just modify it a little bit, and so I can sit there and stare at the screen over and over and over and figure out ideas. And the whole goal is to keep it simple. We want to be able to source as much as we can off Amazon and Home Depot's, Menards, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So been spending a lot of time doing that, and then that allows me to figure out how much 80/20 needs to be ordered, what panels need to be ordered, latches, connectors, all that.
Because of the last 3 builds, meaning our van, both our sons' vans, we learned some tips and tricks on that and what we don't want and what parts we want to avoid or change. And so yeah, that is what you've been spending the majority of the time on that. And we've been going back and forth here and measuring and building boxes, trying to see if that would work instead of this and that. And so that has been a benefit.
One of the things that Gabe was talking about is we don't have a house, so where do we build it out? We can build it out in Tacoma, we could build it out in Wisconsin at my parents' house, or another location in Wisconsin, but we don't necessarily want to do that because the van may come in end of February. It might come March, it might come June. I mean, we don't know, because a lot of builds that were in August are now getting shipped, and it's the end of December. So it could be that way, even though it seems like that backlog has been taken care of. So, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, but where do we build? And we want to build in warmer weather.
Correct.
So, what we wanted to do is to build it in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Build it in the BLM land.
Mm-hmm.
Federal free land that we're just out by ourselves, and we can have a cutoff saw going, and there's nobody around us. Mm-hmm. So that was the goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And where do we get stuff shipped? I mean,
and we are experts on shipping stuff around the nation without a house. And one thing is, if it's an Amazon locker, it's easy, no problem. We do that all over. You can ship to the UPS stores, or I shouldn't say stores, UPS like pickup points or whatever. Watching one of the channels on YouTube, I think it was Nomadic Fanatic guy, but he's down in Quartzsite, and he's using a ship service there, a ship and mail service in Quartzsite. Mm-hmm. So I saw that just the other night, and I'm like, that might be it. So for, I think, $40 for 3 months, you can sign up, and then they'll take all your packages.
So they take your packages and they store them there?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
for up to 20 days, and then after 20 days they charge you whatever.
Okay.
But we'll be fine.
Okay.
So that solves that, because that's a huge deal. Quartzsite, if you don't know, is basically a little tiny town in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by all this desert, really, that is federal land, BLM land, that you can stay on for free.
And that's where a ton of RVers go, van lifers, nomadic people go, and that town actually is kind of set up for it. It's everything related to that. So this shipping places there probably because of that.
Right, exactly. That's
storage units there because of that.
Right, yeah, exactly. So they're set up for that. I believe it goes from, I don't know, like 1,000 people at the most, probably in Quartzsite, to, from what I understand, like 1 million people down there with their RVs and vans and
during the
such.
Winter months.
Yeah, they have a big RV show.
Yeah.
But that people go there for that. So Quartzsite is where we kind of want to be, but not really. But it's a good base for us.
Yeah.
For the winter.
And at the time, obviously, we'll have 2 vans. We'll have our current van, the one coming in. So the Bear van can house and hold a lot of our supplies as well.
Well, and we're going to go a step further. I rented a storage unit in Quartzsite, and 10 by 10 foot unit. And so we'll be able to, before the van comes in, we will go ahead, take the 80-20, go out in the middle of the desert. We have full house power on our current van. We'll get cut-off saw, and we'll cut all the 80-20. And then we'll take it back to the storage unit and keep it there. And then we want to do other things besides just build van, but it'll give us, we'll put in storage unit, take off, come back, and then take pieces out, go to the desert, or whatever. There's people around, and put stuff together in the sunshine and the warmth.
Because we have a ton of things coming up, in the new year that's already booked, that's going to impact our ability to build. So we want to be able to put it away, leave it, come back, get it out, go on our trips, travels, back and forth. So I think this is an absolutely great solution.
Yeah, with the storage unit and the shipping, and Quartzsite has no Home Depot, but they do have hardware stores. They are RV specific, so we'd be able to find stuff that we need there. But we can put it back in the storage unit and take off in our current Sprinter. But then when our new Sprinter is delivered, then we'll be able to, it's only about an hour and a half from where the dealership is, Quartzsite will be. We'll just go through, pick up all the stuff, and put it in the back of the new van, and we'll be good to go. So even if it's like, what if it doesn't come into July? It's okay. We'll just have the storage unit. We're an hour and a half from where we get the delivery of the van. We'll go pick up the stuff. So that really works out well. We can, on this trip, when we're going down there, we're only going to be there for, I think, less than 2 weeks. But we're going to go to Phoenix then and pick up the 80-20. and bring that to the storage unit. So at least we'll have all the 80/20.
Yeah.
In a few days, we are headed out to New York City, so
Woo! We're going.
I need to have this stuff somewhat solid before we go, because all of a sudden it'll kind of wash out. As we're now, I have full days to work on it. So.
New York City for New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So we will have video on that as well.
That'll be
coming up.
fun. Yeah.
That'll be a blast. Hopefully it takes off. But again, he is doing all things van, and I appreciate that because it wouldn't happen otherwise. And you found some perfect solutions based on all your research, all the YouTube videos that we watch. That's what we watch. We don't watch TV at all.
This gives us a project to do in the desert. 'Cause
Yep.
one thing we're not good at is sitting. And so we wouldn't go to the desert and just sit, but if we're building out, it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then by the time the van comes, it depends on when it comes, we'll have all the 80/20 done, paneled and all set to go.
Yeah. We're not sitting in the desert. We have convergences booked with fellow escapers and meeting up with friends, and so we're not sitting, but too much free time is not good time for us. So
Yeah, exactly. And the nice thing is, we're going to meet up with some friends right away, but they're hanging out in that area all winter, and then we're going to the annual bash, Escapers Annual Bash, which is only an hour from Quartzsite, so it's perfect. And then we're storing the van in Las Vegas and flying out of there for a cruise, blah, blah, blah. And we should talk about that in another video, but so it's really a good location.
Yeah.
So we're kind of excited that we were able, because otherwise the other option is to rent an Airbnb that would allow you to work in the garage type of thing, which I'm sure they're available, but it's going to cost money. Yeah.
We researched that last time. They're expensive.
And I'd rather be in the desert. I'd
Same.
rather stay in the van.
Same.
I love the van.
Yeah.
I don't want to stay in a house.
It's our home.
Yeah. So it'll be good.
Hope you enjoyed the update. Hope you guys had a great holiday, a great Christmas, and we just wanted to let you know what was going on while we are sitting still.
And if you hear that you can order a 2024 Sprinter, let me know.
No. Bye guys, we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.